Good morning and welcome to the morning update on TVXYZ. It's Friday. I mean, I was excited to say it's Friday. I am always excited when Friday comes because some of us get to sleep after 4 a.m. and I say this all the time. So good morning to you once again and thank God it's Friday. I'm here with my co-host Eric.
I'm
Eric, good morning.
You?
I'm fine. How are you?
Morning.
You don't seem excited today. It's Friday.
Oh, no. I want to start slowly.
Why?
That's my game.
Hey. Now I'm afraid.
That's my game.
Now today we will take you through the newspapers. He would share the newspaper review, and Wisdom Hedejome will give us details of some of the stories. Now something disturbing has happened in a school in Nungua, which is something that I will talk about in the social segment, and we'll talk to the MP.
Of course.
Yes, who will give us insight.
MP for Krowo.
Exactly.
We understand that she visited the teacher, the said teacher.
Yes.
And has taken care of the medical bills.
Yeah.
One question in there which should be of interest to anybody is that other school children are suffering because when this happened, the other schools in the area have also closed. The teachers are doing so in protest, in solidarity with their colleague.
Yeah.
On the news today, I'm sure Wisdom will give us some highlights.
Definitely. Wisdom has always got us covered. Now, please do not forget that this show is proudly brought to you by X Natural Mineral Water, Simply Natural. If you're thinking of distributing, there are some numbers we'll put on the screen going forward. Or let me just quickly run through that. It says 0596 273 546, or you can call 0596 273 547 and we'll set you up for life. My segment is also proudly brought to you by Health Alert Clinic. Let's Go Herbal. So if you have any chronic diseases, all you have to do is walk in there and they will take very good care of you. Before we zoom into our newspaper review, we'll take a quick commercial break.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Welcome back. This is Morning Update on TVXYZ. I've always been reminding our viewers that call a friend and let them look for us on Facebook or YouTube, either TVXYZ or Wezo TV. Our telephone numbers are 0556 999 999. It's Friday. We want to go light, but I believe that we cannot do it without you. So that's why we want you to join us very early this morning on our show.
Now, because you said light, today we'll talk about some of the things that are happening in the entertainment industry. So if you had some things going on that you want to know details, then you might want to stick and stay to the end.
Yes. Is it JKD?
Yes, JKD will join us.
Right.
Later.
That's a fun segment, isn't it? Because last Friday,
there's some things happening that needs to be spoken about. Like the money that they are saying will be allocated to the creative arts, which we never see. Mm-hmm. The money comes, but it never gets to us. So,
but do you work for it?
We do.
Because I don't see the industry to be that seriously targeting competitors.
But that is because
Nigeria has taken over.
Nigeria has taken over because they have investors and the government
have taken over.
No, Nigeria.
And we don't see anything Ghanaian.
Nigeria has taken over because people are pumping money into the Nigerian movie industry.
Who are the people?
businessmen and even the
Obviously,
government.
because some people are able to lobby and justify it.
But that is the issue. The government, I can say for a fact, has been giving money to the creative arts, but it never gets to where it's supposed to.
So you blame me for it, or you blame government for
So
it,
that's
or
why
you
I said
blame
today,
yourselves for it.
We blame the heads. We blame the heads they have put there. No, we blame the heads they have put there.
Okay.
So they put their stomachs on all the money that comes. Now, speaking of Ashime Papa, I am speaking of money.
Okay, go ahead.
On the first page of the Ghanaian Times, it says here that tourism to bag $5 billion in 2 years. Dr. Awal assures of the target.
I saw the same story on the front page of the Daily Graphic. And what makes it a bit interesting is that I remember in January 2018, Ghana was able to secure a grant of $50 million. And Catherine Afeku at that time was the Minister for Tourism. And let me read 2 paragraphs. I deliberately looked for it. It says, it will also be used to strengthen the ministry and its agencies to increase their capacity to create jobs, empower women, and on and on. The Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Mrs. Catherine Afeku, who disclosed this to the ministry, said that with this fund, we are going to enhance tourist experience from the time of disembarking from the airport through immigration, taking taxis to hotels, visiting sites, and returning to their countries. And it talks about how they were going to enhance tourism destination sites. I went to Elmina recently. If you go to the Castle area, you'll be surprised whether things have improved or
deteriorated.
Yes. If you travel along the Trifupraso road towards the Kakom area, you have a better impression if things have improved. So, in a nutshell, most of our tourism destination sites have not improved. Many people have invested in hotels. The district assemblies are to support them to ensure that there are good roads to make it accessible. Then they can attract business. So bad across, especially in the hinterland. So with this $5 billion, I doubt he can make it in 2 years because the structures itself are not in place.
Yes, yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, now it says here again that Supreme Court discharges Dr. Aine of contempt charge. I think he apologized and they accepted the apology. Also, convict 32 to spend 63 years behind bars. I mean, they might as well have given him life imprisonment. Yeah, now on the back page is sports, the one that we all ran away from. So it says here that Ghana edged Cameroon to progress in the CAF 20 championship, which is a good thing.
Good.
If we didn't make it, we have to push the others to make it. Now, Dreams FC also trons Ashanti Gold and can only pass Chelsea test. We would know that eventually.
Yes, I'm sure somebody is salivating. A lot of people, especially Abuaji, he likes sports and he would have wished to be part of us. But I think from next week, we'll have sports which will be part of our morning programming.
Yes.
And those of you who are interested will obviously have some tea and eggs served for you. Now, let's look at the front page of the Daily Graphic. The banner headline here says, tourism revenue, government targets $5 billion in 2 years, Dr. Awal reveals at Vetting. There are other stories. I shall sin no more, Dr. Ayene assures Supreme Court. And then Graphic Courier strikes business deal with Intercity STC. So here they are on the front page of the paper. Ablekuma Central Assembly pulls down buildings at Aboso Kain here in Accra. The Daily Post on its front page comes with a beautiful picture and it says election petition asking the NDC to bring out a different figure, totally irrelevant. Joyce Bawa Muktari. And then I also see Bernard Mona here is now a chief. Akufo-Addo is the trigger for the LGBTQ plus activities in Ghana. So these are captured on the front page of the Daily Post newspaper. I remember Bernard Mona was on XYZ Tonight. He had a conversation with Prince Menka. And I think that is where he raised that issue because the presidency is still silent on this LGBTQI business. Abna.
All right, now also on the front page of the Business and Financial Times, it says here that Cybersecurity Authority to begin operations in second quarter, which I think is an issue we should look into because about 5 young men were arrested in the US for cyber fraud. And in here, okay, I don't want to get beaten. Now, also, it says that look to swaps to reduce housing deficits. This is coming from Kweku Adobon. It says poor mortgage financing is structural. Now, I think this is an issue that should be looked into in here because,
very important.
Yeah, I mean, the monies we spend on rent, sometimes you think about it and you say that, if I was paying mortgage with this money, I could have owned a house by now, which is very true.
Those who own facilities also say people are cheating them because if you slept at a hotel for one night and we're going to pay what you usually pay, I won't tell you how much I pay.
How much do you pay? Which of the hotels do you go to, Eric?
It's a hotel.
Which one?
Every hotel is a hotel.
Which one?
What do you go to a hotel to do? To rest, isn't it?
On that note, it's also talking about the tourism industry making the 50 million. Actually, they did mention that 50 million Ghana cedis will be capital injection to benefit the creative arts, and also $20 million for the National Film Studio push for more domestic tourism drive. I am very interested in this, especially for the National Film Studio and the capital, because I saw some artworks with Sokrit Safo and there's this little girl and one other creative arts industry person, and they are trying to get a name for the industry, which some of us think is not necessary, but anyways, hopefully we get to see the money.
I see your interest in that sector.
Yes, because the creative arts is suffering, especially the movie industry is suffering. And it's not for the lack of talent. There are good stories. There are talents in this country that we can use to promote the country. But it looks like the leaders are not. When I say leaders, please, I'm not referring to government because I know
some
that
of your colleagues in the industry who have made it. Why can't they put their heads together to support yourselves?
But they have been trying. See, that is the problem.
Because you sit at one point, one part,
Eric,
and then complain that you're not getting the support. It's not coming. That is the thing. But when the monies you are making come, you enjoy it, you front it.
But
and that is what you are doing. And you turn around and say you're not getting support.
I can mention Yvonne Nelson. Yvonne Nelson produces, which means she creates employment for some of us. Prince David Osei produces. Kobe Rana is an actor and a producer. Money came that were supposed to be given to producers. Now, what they said was, if you are an actor, stick to being an actress or an actor. And so they didn't give these people money. And
so where did the money go?
These people held the movie industry down. When the movie industry was dying, these people were shooting movies with their own monies. And then when government brought money that was supposed to be given to producers, the producers who were not producing when the industry was suffering, they said that if you're an actress, stay in your lane. They did not give monies to these persons.
So it is also possible that there was no proper definition to the money that was released, and so people will understand who should benefit. The same allocation has been made before to the Ghana Journalists Association. And I remember they were asking, what is the criteria? That criteria will spell out who actually can benefit. But it's a big topic, and I can guarantee you that next week we'll work at it. Daily Searchlight on its front page says, traders complain against compulsory import insurance, and we have GINAPOR to roll out well thought out afforestation program. The Daily Dispatch, let me run through some of them quickly. On its front page says, non-partisanship on display. NPP's Cecilia Dapa is one of the bold leaders Ghana needs. NDC's Okujeto Ablakwa is quoted to have said. And then Joe Kate did very well for railways sector. Peter Mewu is talking. And then motorcycle accidents contributed to 40% of total road accidents in 2020. As for this, I totally dispute it. That of all the people who died in the buses, who got bent, and all the things, if motorcycle accidents is taking almost half of all those who died through accidents in Ghana, then there is a serious issue we have to look at. Chronicle on its front page, it says, PDS deal fraudulent. Amewu insists he was before the appointment committee. And remember, when the PDS deal came up, he was one of those who said it's fraudulent, and that controversy ensued about whether he meant that they had signed a bad deal. So that's it on the front page of the Chronicle newspaper. Constituents laud DC for achievements, and then Alwal on LGBTQI. We will enforce and respect our cultural values.
Now, quickly on the front page of the Daily Analyst, it says that Akufo-Addo to receive first COVID-19 jab. So if you're afraid, you probably should feel better, because the president is taking it before you have to take it. So if there's any side effects or implications, we would know after he takes his. Now, also it says here that Supreme Court says Dr. Inifri, which we have discussed already. Now, onto the Herald, it says that Alan Shermantin to be grilled on Unipass deal, cash for seats and others today. Sometimes it's interesting how the newspaper captures headlines. It says here that runaway EC boss concedes arithmetic mistake in 2020 election results. And also here, CID investigator on Opuni case admits coaching witness on what to write to nail him, which is a serious matter.
It's in court, so no comment.
Yes. Again, this is another big issue that we have been talking about. And it says here that cocoa farmers begin preparation for massive demonstration over government failure to settle indebtedness. And then it says Alan Shermantin over Commander Sugar Factory, Parliament petitioned. So the Ghanaian publisher says that vaccines are safe, and so you shouldn't worry when you're taking it. And like we just mentioned, Akufo-Addo will be taking it. If it's not safe, I don't think the first man of the nation will admit to taking it. Now, what do you have, Eric?
Not much, but there's a story on one of the pages which talks about Ivorian paramilitary forces harassing Ghanaian cocoa farmers. Here it is on the front page of the Chronicle newspaper. And it comes up every now and then. If you have ever used the corridors before, they are mostly very deprived. Roads are very bad. These are forest belts with small communities, and then cross-border movement is very, very high. And then if you look at how our part of the world was colonized, later when the colonialists were looking at having total grasp on us, they demarcated our region.
Right.
So you realize that during that process, you could be a Ghanaian living here, and because of the borderline, some of your family members are living on the other side, and they have lived with this for years. And if you use the Lubo stretch towards the Bono area, you notice that many of these people are into either cocoa or cashew production, and security there is very bad. Telcos are almost non-existent in those areas. So we can only hope that government will move in swiftly and then put soldiers there to protect our people.
We hope so. We hope so. But we have to move to the next segment of our show. But before we do that, we would appreciate our sponsors. And Wisdom, Heather Jome, will bring us details of some of the headlines that we have discussed. So don't go nowhere.
Welcome to AutoCheck Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many Accra.
Sure.
Check, auto checks, check, auto checks, check.
Emission, check.
Check, auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Auto checks, check, auto checks.
Brakes, check. Visit AutoChecks at Koforidua Aquadum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Auto checks.
Auto checks, check.
AutoChecks, your safety, our priority.
Check, auto checks.
peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
Welcome back to the morning update on TVXYZ. My name is Nana Abinasewa. We've gotten to the part where the man with all the wisdom gives us details of some of the headlines that we've discussed. Hello.
I want to issue a disclaimer even before I start anything. I am not the epitome of wisdom, please.
But that's your name. Your parents knew what they were doing when they gave you the name.
See, it's different. It's a thing saying that wisdom is wise. And it's a different thing saying that wisdom has all the wisdom in the world, please.
Wisdom, they say make positive confessions. What do you have for me, please? Thank you so much for accepting that.
So I'll be telling you about the Kotoka International Airport staff who are backing down from their services today. Also, that there's going to be a crunch meeting between Get Fund Secretariat and contractors over delays in their payment. And then I'll be telling you about the skepticism that is rising as a result of compensation set for the COVID-19 vaccines for persons who may get complications after taking the vaccines. And Nagrat is very, very angry over the assault of a teacher at Nungwa, and they said this cannot be allowed to be swept under the carpet. So details of these and other stories I'll be telling you, Dana. Many thanks for staying. Now, teacher unions are fuming over another case involving the assault of a teacher at Nungwa. Now, the victim suffered severe beatings by a mob bussed to the school for disciplining a final year student who failed to produce his homework. Nagrat is also shocked about delays in releasing placement list for first-year SHS students.
The teacher, identified as Moses Nyamiasem, was left with a swollen eye, broken nose and bruises on other parts of his body. He has since been discharged by the Lekma Hospital after stitches to close his wounds while investigations continue. He was attacked by a mob mobilized by a final year student of Krama 2 JHS at Nungwa to avenge punishment meted out him for failure to do his homework. President of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Eric Angel Kabonu, is demanding swift investigations.
It's a very bad news, and we are very shocked and disappointed that a situation like this could arise. The worrying situation is that when teachers are attacked, the community, the society treats it with a kid glove. I do recall some girl organizing her boyfriend to go and beat up a teacher in Nima. And what happened? You even had politicians intervening to solve the problem amicably. We expect the police and the law enforcement agencies to be swift on matters like this. For the student, I don't even see how practical it will be for the same teachers in that school to accommodate him and teach him.
Nagrat president believes if the student involved is dismissed, it will serve as a deterrent to the teachers. He warns that any delay by the police will compel teachers' unions to escalate their response in spite of the closure of the school.
I don't know why the placement list is delaying, but the earlier it is released, the better. So our parents can prepare adequately for their children to go to school. The excuse given was not convincing enough, but I expect that maybe by the close of this week, the placement will be released.
Witnesses say, but for the timely intervention of colleague teachers, the victim would have been on admission by now. The gang who arrived in a Sprinter bus to meet out the attack have since absconded. Meanwhile, Mr. Kabonu has expressed worry about the delay in the release of the SHS placements. He tells TVXYZ News the excuses by GES are not convincing.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for Crow, Agnes Namomolate, has donated an undisclosed amount of money to Moses Nyamiasem, the assaulted teacher, to foot his medical bills. She also had meetings with the regional and municipal directors of education, the police representative from the traditional council, PTA chairman and teachers of Kroma 2, where the sad incident happened. Now, counseling psychologist says parents against LGBTQI activities must not only join the chaos demanding the laws to ban activities, but begin close monitoring of their case to help them deal with suspicious traits. National Coalition for Proper Human, Sexual and Family Values played a critical role in the closure of the Accra office on Wednesday. Bishop Frederick Kranche Mensah, who is also the executive secretary of the coalition leading the fight, observed with concerns the poor parenting issues that expose children to these vulnerable groups.
Majority of Ghanaians have vowed to smoke out persons or groups testing their patience by promoting the gay and lesbian agenda. But for the decision to close down the recently opened office, there were fears government's continued silence could provoke some irate youth to take the law into their own hands to ban the rented facility. Pressure is now piling on Nana Akufo-Addo to break his silence to prove he's not subtly backing the agenda to send a strong caution to the EU and other diplomats, now known as promoters. Counseling psychologist and executive secretary of the Coalition Fighting Gays and Lesbians, as well as their promoters, believes parents can play a useful role to stem the growing practice if they take critical observation of their children. Bishop Frederick Kranche Mensah, who was speaking on Morning Update on TVXYZ on the role the National Coalition for Proper Human Sexuality and Family Values played in closing the Accra office on Wednesday, had this to share.
A lot of research has gone on, and there is evidence to prove that while babies are in the uterus, it is believed that certain hormones are released mistakenly, and then which also influences the structure of the brain. The structure of the brain changes. So when the baby is a male, it begins to think like a female, and when the baby is a female, it begins to think like a male. So these are the biological factors that also moves into psychological. So it has to do with the thinking pattern. The structure of the brain changes, and then people begin to think differently. You see, that's why if we see that children, when they are males, some begin to dress like females and some begin to behave like females, vice versa. But you see, the evidence available is not enough to guarantee or to justify people having sexual tendencies towards the same sex and actually engaging in the act. Then their thoughts translate into feelings or emotions. They begin to desire the same sex, and then before we realize, they are actually in the act. So that is the psychological aspect. Parenting is one of the challenges we have, especially this side of the world. And I think that in Ghana, the church should take up that responsibility, raising parents, consciously and intentionally teaching people how to parent. Once you begin to see these signs, as a parent, you should begin to educate them, because it's all in the mind.
While the presidency is declining to speak to the subject, Most nominees who have appeared before the Appointments Committee of Parliament are declaring their stance. Minority Leader Harun Idrisu, who put a direct question to the Minister Designate for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Ibrahim Awal Mohammed, on his proposal to deal with the LGBTQ agenda, described the sexual preferences of these groups as dehumanizing, saying he has never seen a billy or bull running after their kind in a sexual way. Mr. Awal could not disagree with him.
I think Ghana's religious practices frown on lesbianism. And that's how it is. It's frowned on. It's the cultural values do not accept it. Thank you.
Where do you stand? Because you are now going to be, in Tyler's words, culture is a people's way of life. We know our way of life as Ghanaian. Where do you stand? Will you carry high the moral values?
The chairman will enforce our cultural values and respect our cultural practices.
Away from that, and the staff of the Kotoka International Airport are beginning a partial strike protest of alleged mismanagement by the managing director, Yao Kwakwa. A statement issued late yesterday directed all general staff to withdraw their services at the Kotoka International Airport beginning 6 a.m. today, Friday, February 26, until otherwise communicated by the union. The statement further added that the action has become necessary following the board attempt to shelve the report of an investigative committee comprising the Minister of Aviation, the board, senior management, and the Public Services Workers Union, which confirmed the allegation of mismanagement and abuse of office leveled against the MD. The affected services shall include screening of pre-board passengers and access control, fire and safety cover for all aircraft, water supply and sewage treatment and public announcement and flight display. The development comes in the wake of the controversy over the Frontier Healthcare Services Limited agreement for the compulsory $150 COVID-19 test for all arrivals. Leaked documents gone viral on social media suggest the 22-page agreement with Frontier Healthcare Services was signed by the MD of the Ghana Airports Company, Yao Kwakwa. The minority is flagging the deal for breach of Section 41 of the PPA Act and Section 11 of the Fees and Charges Act for not seeking parliamentary approval. Let's now turn attention to the growing agitation of contractors, some of whom have resorted to locking facilities and other projects completed in protest over government indebtedness. TVXYZ News has learnt about a crunch meeting called by the Get Fund Secretariat in an attempt by government to calm nerves, but they have served notice their patience is now out.
July 2019, angry road contractors stormed the Ministry of Roads and Highways to demand immediate payment for projects executed during the John Mahama-led administration. This followed government's failed promises after earlier complaints and threats. One of such contractors, Big Edu, who won a court case against government, had to seize some properties belonging to the state as directed by the courts to defray monies owed. Last week, Minister Designate for Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amoakwata, who was asked questions on this specific subject, blamed the delay in payments to COVID-19.
We must also not lose sight of the facts of the difficulties that we all went through as a government and as a nation with the COVID-19 pandemic, and resources of the nation in terms of revenue went down. So it also impacted negatively on our payment regime.
His response and related comments by other nominees have angered contractors, some of whom have started locking facilities and projects they executed in protest. Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry, Emmanuel Cherry, tells TVXYZ News some of the members are dying out of frustration because not even a dime has been paid to them since 2017 when Nana Akufo-Addo's government assumed office. He said their patience has now been overstretched.
Where we are now, we don't have any minister. The ministers are now going through vetting. until they take over office, it will be later day, how they call it, difficult for us to do anything unto us. That's the reasons why, out of how they call it magnanimity, we decided that okay, we should tone down a letter, let the minister take office. If he takes office and then you want to go the same tangent, then I'm telling you, my brother, you are not going to have any good news in this country.
The Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry said they hope to send a strong signal to government at a meeting called by the Get Fund Secretariat later today.
Some of the contractors have they start locking up other classroom blocks and structures. I hope you're aware of that. Others are also on the standby. They wanted to, but we need to stop them. The other road contractors, the same thing. We have been charitable with government for so long, but it seems they are taking our patience for as if we are trying to be too much magnanimous, or, you know, the time has come for us to show our teeth a little, if that's what they want to.
Government is said to owe contractors several billions of cedis. Road contractors alone are claiming over 1.8 billion cedis, and reports indicate that other projects in the education, health, water and energy sectors have also not yet been paid.
Now, former Deputy Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine is a free man. This follows his apology and the Supreme Court decision to drop contempt charges against him. Present at court were the lead counsel for the EC, Justin Amenuvo, who told the court Dr. Ayine is a best friend, a former roommate, and the best man at his wedding. Also present were counsel for the petitioner Thorny Later, Marietta Brill, Joyce Bawa Muktari, Eduji Tamaklo, among others.
Last week, former Deputy Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine apologized to the justices of the Supreme Court for his predetermined agenda comment. He was reprimanded and asked to go back to the same medium he used to malign the bench to purge himself of contempt. Yesterday, the court, satisfied by his retraction and apology, finally set him free. In spite of the litigation over the 2020 presidential election results, lawyers challenging the petitioner dropped their differences in solidarity with Dr. Dominic Ayine as he appeared before the Sanhedrin. The former Attorney General did not grant interviews after he left the courtroom, but his colleague and member of the NDC legal team, Eduji Tamaklo, spoke to TVXYZ News.
When we appeared and the lawyers for him announced themselves, the court said to the extent that that has been done, they didn't waste anybody's time. So within 5 minutes, we were done with the proceedings. And the court itself said, look, to the extent that they didn't allow a drag and all of those things, they appreciate it. And we are grateful to the court.
There are those who argue that the court has been too lenient to your boss. How do you respond to that?
There's nothing like leniency. The powers of contempt are actually used sparingly. So the court is always minded to draw a thin line between allowing people. Because you see also the court does not also want to look like they are above criticism. And like everything that happened today, the conclusion is that he's apologized, the court acknowledged that, and discharge him of the contempt, and that is it.
Meanwhile, lawyers for all sides have officially submitted their closing remarks ahead of judgment next week, March 4. Lawyers for the Electoral Commission in summary described as sad the petitioner's action and wondered why he dragged the commission to the Supreme Court over a petty mistake. The petitioner, however, maintains that in addition to fundamental constitutional infractions committed by the Electoral Commission chairperson, who was the returning officer of the presidential election, the figures announced in the declaration she herself made on December 9, 2020, no candidate got more than 50% of the valid votes cast. Portions of his closing remark further said, quote, "The fact that the petitioner is not indicating in his petition what he or the other candidates should have obtained compared to the numbers declared by the Electoral Commission cannot lead to a conclusion that the declaration by the EC boss is constitutional."
Let's turn our attention to some COVID-related matters and the public fear ahead of the mass vaccination exercise next week. has been heightened. This has been triggered by the fund set aside by the World Health Organization to pay compensation in case of complications. A section of the public and news team engaged described the development as worrying.
The government needs to open up more about the vaccine, and then if it has any side effects, and then the more needs to be done on the educational aspect. We don't know which one. We know there is this one from Russia and then this one from UK, but we don't know which one is currently in the country. People need to know whether they are, if they are getting one jab, whether they are just getting the one UK jab and then the following one will be from the Russian jab. They need to know, and there needs to be some consistency education. That's what I think.
I stand to be corrected, but I think South Africa has had, issues with the efficacy rates and everything. And this extra, fund that is being set up with the possibility of people having complications and, being able to access the fund, I think is extra, it's going to cause extra fear. I mean, already some news, portals are reporting that several Ghanaians are not even interested. Some are scared. It's the very first time. There are funny talks about, sex is antichrist and all that. This is not a time where we need to be telling people of extra complications and everything. So, in my opinion, I think that there were other vaccines, that had higher, efficacy rates. We could have simply gone for that and, not focus on this one that we have just, procured. Considering the overall atmosphere and the environment of the Ghanaian people, I think this extra fund thing is doing us more harm, than good.
People tend to have complications, so I think that it's something that we should welcome, and it's a step in the right direction. Everybody should be welcome on board, the NCC, the Ministry of Information, and all other parties that can actually help in ensuring that the efforts of communication in informing the masses about the vaccine and educating them about what it means for their health in this pandemic would actually do a lot of good for our society.
And before we go, there's heavy deployment of police and military personnel to Yankpo Damaili, a farming community near Tamale, following chieftaincy clashes that left several houses touched. A manhunt is on for 5 suspects, including a local chief.
The communal violence left at least 25 houses razed down by fire and properties destroyed. Witnesses say some residents of Young Dakpe Miyili also sustained injuries during the crossfire between two factions in a protracted chieftaincy dispute. Northern Regional Police Crime Officer Superintendent Bernard Baba Ananga, who addressed the media, said 5 persons on the run are being pursued.
As we are making progress, we are also sending signals out to those would-be offenders that they should take note that we will bring the law and justice to their doorsteps and then ensure that such mayhem will not be visited on any other community, or whoever is thinking about going to the extent of causing this havoc on any society or community would think twice.
Superintendent Baba also indicated suspects in their custody are being interrogated for additional evidence before they are arraigned before court.
To ensure that justice is brought to the good people of Young Dakpe Miyili, and that particular chief who led the group to burn some of the houses of the place will be pursued and then dealt with according to law. And so far we have managed to arrest almost, I can confidently say, 15 people have been arrested. Already 8 are on remand custody and then assisting us in investigations. So the 8 assisted us to arrest subsequent ones. There's about 7 of them. Yesterday, day before, and today, been pursuing them to arrest them and then take them to court.
The incident has left the village empty after women and children fled for their lives. Meanwhile, a joint police military team has been dispatched to the community to prevent reprisal attacks.
And on that note, we end this morning's news in brief on the morning update. My name is Wisdom Hedejime. As always, do log on to my xyzonline.com for more. Nana Abena Sewa, I'm here.
Thank you, Wisdom Hedejime. Bye-bye. All right, now there's a story that he gave us, which was, I think, his very first story about a student beating up a teacher. That is something that I will be delving into soon after we come back from our commercial break. But do not forget that the discussion segment is proudly brought to you by Health Alert Clinic, Let's Go Herbal, and of course the show is brought to you by X Natural Mineral Water, Simply Natural.
Ifa kura na menyisika edia ye mefui.
Ehin fa na menya bosia edia tre medwuma yimu.
Kai kura mabre me busia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yemamu akwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye won hyehyɛ ahodoɔ bi te sɛ dwadifo abosia, ekoko abosia, susu account, enidaso wɔ hɔ savings account, mebada chain savings account, ene de keka ho. Suhum Rural Bank was 034229186. Na won so wetumi aka sɛ
Suhum Rural Bank ama ene mayeka una.
Suhum Rural Bank enti mepa minie.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
So aside the side effects of alcohol affecting your liver, etc., it also makes you put on, and putting on gives heart diseases. If you have too much fat in your system, it means that you are not going to have a fit heart. So please, let's try as much as possible to either reduce our alcohol intake or stay clear of it if you cannot reduce it. Now, moving into our discussion for today, but before I do that quickly, I would tell you about Health Alert Clinic and some of the services they offer. So Health Alert Clinic uses herbal medicine to cure chronic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, stroke, numbness, and also if you have waist pains, muscle pains, they treat that with machines. Now, ulcer, prostate issues, menstrual problems, a lot of ladies have menstrual problems, and so every time they are close to menstruating, they start thinking about the pain. Burning sensation in the foot and body, and also if you have body pains, waist and bone pains, and typhoid, bad cholesterol, gonorrhea, and syphilis, and also dizziness. If you have white or candidiasis or you can't sleep, you can visit Health Alert Clinic and they'll use herbal medicine to treat you. Now, also, I say this all the time, hepatitis B is a very serious condition, and so please walk into Health Alert Clinic and get tested for free of charge. And if you are tested positive, I'm sure they would treat you as well using, again, herbal medicine. But you can also walk in and take your ultra scan. You do your massage and your physio with machine treatment, and also do laboratory. We are in an era where a lot of clinics are operating illegally. And I mean, yesterday we did talk about some clinics that have been closed. And so this is an opportunity to visit a facility knowing that you are safe. Or you can also call them for more details on 0242 518893, or you can also call 0242 518865. Health Alert Clinic, let's go herbal. They are located at Medina Post Office behind the Atlantic Bank. Now, moving into my discussion for today. I mean, gone are the days where children used to take punishment and not do anything about it. A lot has been happening in our society going wrong, especially with our children. Last week, I did discuss where most children can't even speak their mother tongue, not to talk of knowing our culture. And now children are standing up for their rights. So you heard about the news item, or if you are just tuning in, Wisdom gave us a story about a student who refused to do his homework, and for that matter was punished by a teacher, and this student took it upon himself to also mete out some sort of punishment to the teacher, and Nagrat is not happy about it. This incident has left me with mixed emotions, but most especially sad. However, let's listen to what Nagrat is saying about it.
Attack on a teacher by anybody, be it students or the community, is a very bad news, and we are very shocked and disappointed that a situation like this could arise.
So especially in this case, this is not the first time it's happening. We've seen instances where teachers have been attacked. What happened in Kofredia, the eastern region, where a teacher subsequently died as a result of such an attack.
Yes, the worrying situation is that when teachers are attacked, the community, the society treats it with a kid glove. I do recall some girl organizing her boyfriend to go and beat up a teacher in Nima. And what happened? You even had politicians intervening to solve the problem amicably. We expect the police.
Yes, so you saw the teacher who had been badly beaten by the students, and apparently a gang of his friends, they beat him up thoroughly. And after, when he was rushed to the hospital, his mother also came to the school to hurl insults at the teacher. But I think it was a good thing he wasn't around in the moment. However, I have the MP for the constituency in which this happened on the line, and we will be delving into the matters, because some of the schools around that particular school has closed down in solidarity to what has happened to the teacher. Now, I will be speaking to Madam Agnes Na Latte. Yes, I got it. It says Honorable Agnes Na Momo Latte, who is the MP for Crowell constituency. Good morning, madam. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you doing?
I'm good. And how are you too?
I'm good,
The
thank
line
you.
is very faint.
Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yeah, it's much better now.
And now, Madam Agnes, we've heard what is happening in your constituency. We've heard about the students who have badly beaten up the teacher, and for that matter, some schools, and that said school itself has closed down at the moment. But before we delve into that, how is the teacher doing now? Because we do know that he was or is hospitalized.
Well, let me say good morning to the chiefs and people of Kruo. It's rather unfortunate that this incident happened. The teacher is responding to treatment by the grace of God, and we've also tried to build up a support base for his recovery. So more or less all stakeholders are on board to ensure that we work with him through the process of healing. So yes, we check on him periodically. Constantly, knowing the progress of recovery and any assistance that he needs along the way, we try to provide. I think so far it's been good. The headmaster has been very supportive. The municipal director of education has been very supportive. And the police are also doing their best to ensure that the campus is safe for teachers to return to school. So by and large, we are still looking for the perpetrator of this crime and his colleagues. I mean, I'm yet to get an update today what has happened.
Okay. Now, I also heard that you personally took care of some of the medical bills, and I would want to commend you for that. Now, moving on to our next question. When I saw the picture of the man in question, what came into my mind was, what exactly did he do to have warranted such a punishment from the student? How badly did he punish the student?
First of all, I usually don't like talking about what exactly, because it wasn't a violent act from his side. What exactly he might have done to have merited that? There's no justification for what the kids did or what the boys did. There's no justification whatsoever. So I believe that whatever be the situation, there are channels of communication or reporting. If the teacher had abused him or had done, which was not the case anyway, or had done something that he felt aggrieved, he knew precisely what to do, or he knew he could have approached another teacher or the headmaster and reported the incident. But to have gone out of the way, interestingly, the headmaster also said, proud to he going to bring his colleagues. He had seen him and, asked if everything was okay because of his demeanor. So there's no justification whatsoever for what he did, to have gone outside to bring in gangs to attack a teacher for whatever reason he felt there's no excuse to warrant that kind of treatment for the teacher.
Right.
I actually encourage that we strengthen the communication lines, let people know openly the channels of communication, the information flow, how to address such grievances so that it doesn't escalate to this point. But by and large, let me say that there's no justification or excuse for what we see today, and that is the more reason why I render unqualified apologies to the teacher and his family and the colleagues who also feel very threatened by the presence of the students and other people of such nature within the compound.
Now, based on what you have just stated and also saying that the child didn't have the right to have done what he has done, regardless of what the teacher had done to him, are you in support of what Nagrat is asking for, which is to expel the student?
I am not saying the child, I have not spoken so much about the right of the child, because the child is at large. So we've heard the side of the teacher. There have been witnesses who also, gave the same story as the teacher, both from the student side and then from, the teacher's side. We've not really sat down with the student to hear the other side of the story. So I don't want to bring in the issue of right. That is why I say that there's no justification whatsoever for what was done. It's a gang attack, and nobody, such assault, I don't want to. I want to be a mediator, appealing to the teachers and ensuring safe environment for them to teach. Equally, any student who the perpetrator feels is a threat will also be under attack by the perpetrator and his gang. So a safe environment, a safe and secured environment for both teachers and students to enhance learning and teaching is what we are asking for, and that is what we are looking at as a way forward. And truthfully, as I said to the director and one or two of the teachers, there are punishments that are meted out to people at certain places and it works. But when you do it across board, there are some places that it's actually not effective. So one of them is closing down. The message is clear to the community, parents and all, that what the child did is not good. In fact, it is a not. Something that should not be entertained by anybody. But then, as to whether the punishment of closing down the school will go down well in the community this incident occurred is what I am looking at. And as I said it, the children are remorseful, but they feel like whatever period you give them to be off school is like a holiday for them. And I remember seeing a couple of the students who had to personally beg and ensure that they were in school for this term. And this is a holiday for them. I had a call from one of them who said, "Oh, madam, what has happened is serious. We don't know when we are going back to school. I have found a job. Please come and guarantee for me to go back to work, to go and work." And when things like this happen, you wonder whether the punishment is effective. I am only appealing to our teachers who are doing a lot of sacrifices. They are doing a marvelous job. That this has happened. Let's look at the way forward so that innocent children do not also suffer as a result of what this one has done. We look at the way forward, their security, and for me, it is a campaign promise. It is something that I am poised to ensure that they are well motivated to be able to give off their best. So I'm still appealing to them. Let us come back to the round table, look at the issues holistically, whilst the police does its best to arrest the gentleman. And then we also look at the interest and well-being of the larger students who might not have had any hand or dealing in this. We are also trying to put up a holistic program to educate the parents, and the PTA will soon take up that responsibility and will join them in ensuring that at least the parents don't come there to misbehave. The police, on the other hand, has also promised constant patrol, and the patrol will be such that it will not put fear and panic in the children. The children are to understand that the police are there for their own protection because they also witness the violence meted out to the teacher. So a lot of activities are going on. The Traditional Council, on its part, also wants to join in looking for the perpetrator and ensuring that there's sanity and then there's discipline and a good working relationship between parents and teachers and the community at large.
All right, thank you, Madam Agnes Wood. I'm grateful for giving us such insight into the incident that has happened, and also I want to commend you for the work that you are doing. We do hope that you have a good day.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, we spoke to the MP for the Krowo constituency, Madam Agnes Momolate, who gave us insight about what has happened and what is being done or will be done about it. We'll take our newspaper review now.
We are one man short. Should we invite him?
Yes.
It be old cargo. Can I join you guys?
Yeah.
Always drink fresh, natural X mineral water.
Still got it. Always keep hydrated naturally. That's my secret.
Manufactured with the primary aim of preserving nature's finest minerals necessary for a healthy mind and body. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Kofi na saying habama to me saya dear bia and ankametina homa me yadie yakumie.
Oh, not day. Health Alert Clinic dear. Yadin habama any organic product in Kwa and a saya dear.
Bear money or bar a waya modene. Wonko Health Alert Clinic.
Health Alert Clinic dear. Say ya bema wint me more jumayi. Menstrual disorder, hypertension, nasa and num yadia STDs. Oh, do some yadia bia. Ya better at the amount. Was ya massaging any physiotherapy or more diagnostic machines. Eh, this is the pedium. Sounds na ultra scan.
Health Alert Organic Shop on so honumwa organic products in Kwa and Omoto honum. Shisha Yachrakwan, Ewa Madina Post Office, Yewa First Atlantic Bank no Echi Wanumwa, Ewa Enkrai.
Freying, Ewa 0242 518893 and now 0242 518865. Health Alert Clinic. Go Heba!
I go kill you with enjoyment, 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 enjoyment. I go kill you with
my toes to this song. You know, I like sitting around in the evenings, especially on Friday nights. So imagine you are listening to the audio of this song, and then you have a plate on your table, some steaks coated with some fresh meat, especially the skin. You have onion, and then you have some powdered pepper with spices. And all you have to do is to relax and then use the stick to play games. You just be picking the onion. And then when you feel, you just keep chewing and looking for it. That is what exactly came to my mind. Tell me your experience.
So that's what we've been doing. You don't invite us.
You tell me your experience.
You goes with madam, please. Don't do that.
Tell me your experience. Enjoyment. All what I heard in the song is enjoyment. My panelists this morning are Peter Nkoma, Deputy News Editor, Daily Dispatch newspaper. Peter, how are you?
Oh, I'm well, my brother.
I'm also fine. And David Sichofeta Maklo is the editor of the WhatsApp newspaper. It's an online newspaper, and he does a lot of things.
And my vice president.
And I know he's the vice president of the
he's my vice president. Yes.
That's Private Newspapers Publishers Association of Ghana. David, you're a big man, oh.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Papa. You know, I have big men in mind. He invites me to functions, and I tell you,
you smile.
You got to be around to see. Yes. Oh, I see.
Charlie, this week has ended. It's run so fast. Yesterday, I saw on Facebook, after 1 hour of rainfall, parts of Accra getting flooded, parts of Sekondi Takoradi getting flooded. I don't know other regions, but obviously Cape Coast wouldn't have been left out. I don't know. This week, what are your major stories, David?
Well, I have a couple of stories. Still fascinated about this
AstraZeneca vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been looking at it from a different spectacle. I think that not much is being told us about this whole. I mean, this is a disease that they said novel disease, and we all don't know much about it. But when we are talking about vaccines to be applied to humans, I believe that a lot of due diligence have to go in there, because you don't want the state to be seen as acting reckless when people's life are involved. I have been doing a few research on what is going on around the world regarding the vaccine application to different people, and you know, it's so fascinating when I saw the Ghanaian ministers and some people line up at the airport, you know, gleefully, you know, with pomp and pageantry, receiving this vaccine, 600,000 vaccine, with nobody asking questions. I mean, I've listened to journalists say, oh, go and take the vaccine, go and do this. But, you know, I think that as gatekeepers, we need to ask the questions that is boggling the minds of, the questions that are boggling the minds of the ordinary people.
And what are some of those questions?
I think that if you do a little research, you see that some countries have had a cause to reject the vaccine, the AstraZeneca vaccine. Some countries have had a cause to reject it, and they particularly its application to the elderly folks. I know Switzerland, Germany, Australia, South Africa, they have all rejected it for want of efficacy. I mean, compared to other vaccines, I'm told that this is not efficient enough, and we need to know. I mean, yes, we all need a vaccine. We want our society to get back on track and all that, but we need to know that, look, people are hesitant about it now. People are spreading all kinds of myths and all that around it. The more transparent we are about it, the better, to allay the fears of the people. So I think that as journalists, we need
that an institution like the Food and Drugs Authority, which doesn't limit its operation to Ghana, but its integrity across the globe, because they also belong to associations and wouldn't want to be singled out for compromising on standards. Their assurance should be enough, isn't it?
Well, assurance with what explanation? If we have any cause to wonder what it is, we need to ask, we need to be told. For instance, I think in South Africa rejected it outright, because it is said that when they were applying it to their people, it wasn't efficient, particularly to the new variant disease. So they have rejected it outright. It is also said that its efficacy level is just about 65%, and that when it was the clinical test was being done, it was done on a paltry 660 people, as compared to other ones that have done 11,000 and over. You know, the more people that are clinically tested and it works, the better and the more assurance that the vaccine will work. And of course, you don't want to take jabs, you know, under all these fears, take jabs and then go back and say, oh, contract the disease. That will bring a worse repercussion than, you know.
Okay, so let me come to you, Peter. Obviously, we're doing it today on topic-based as you select. Now, he raises some interesting questions. It brings to mind the fact that these vaccines are coming in free of charge. Another indication that Ghana is the first country to receive it. And then WHO also telling us that, look, we have a fund which will be paid in lump sum in case of complications. This is the first time, in my opinion, that WHO will be issuing that accompanying commentary that there's the likelihood of implications, and we don't even want you to go to court. It will take a longer time, and this fund is available. Is it not going to fuel more suspicion, as David is suggesting in his submission?
Well, good morning, and good morning to the listeners and
watchers, but I don't believe so. You see, there's no medicine in this world where you won't get 1 or 2 side effects of it. Even our local herbs that we take, there is definitely some side effects as to how, when you take it, how each individual will react to it, and many others. The same way my brother and friend mentioned other countries who have accepted who have rejected the vaccine. France has also accepted, and they are actually using it. And France is a powerhouse. You cannot say France is not a player. I mean, a
in the global stage.
In the global stage. Apart from France, there are other countries that are also using it. And you rightly ask a very important question. And he said, are you saying that our FDA, which is internationally acclaimed, will sit and watch that we are giving a substandard vaccine? And I'm not sure my brother was able to provide any very good reasons.
You didn't want me to answer that. I think he didn't answer that question.
You want me to answer that?
Yeah. Okay, no, so when we come to you, answer.
Yes,
you let
yes,
him let him land.
And this vaccine is also approved by WHO. And you mentioned it, that it is a facility available to about 93 countries.
92.
Very good. Countries. That Ghana, because of our initiative, our plan, and many other diplomatic strategies, has been able to acquire. And that is why, when it arrived, there was that ceremony that occurred at the airport that my brother also subtly adduced some reasons to it. And I can tell you that at the function, the WHO rep was there, UNICEF rep was there, and I strongly agree to the fact that a short ceremony, I mean, without singing and dancing and many other things that you see in the usual ceremonies when such things are organized, to at least symbolize that, look here, we've gotten a vaccine, and that Ghana is the first country to have benefited from this facility in Africa. And so reps of WHO and UNICEF, international bodies, are there to sort of hand over or symbolize, get some documentation to it. Our friends sometimes behave as if governance started just 2017. Look, many events has happened in the past that contributed to the need to have some short ceremony to, as a sign or as a symbol, to symbolize the occasion or the facility or the event. We live in a country that to date people still doubt the existence of the disease. And before the arrival of the vaccine, there are industry players who have doubted the government's preparedness and its arrangement and its means to bring the vaccine in this country. A fellow of the CDD, the one Kwame Sapon Asiedu, granted interview with your sister station, Multi TV, and he mentioned the fact that Ghana is likely to get the COVID-19 vaccine by end of June 2021. And with your permission, I'll quote some few portions of.
And who is that person?
Kwame Sapon Asiedu. He is a fellow of Ghana Center for Democratic Development.
What is the locus of this reference to?
Yes, I'm coming.
The vaccine issues, because he doesn't work for Ghana Health Service.
No, wait, yes. And he's based in the UK, a pharmacist. He said Ghana should be realistic in a bit of getting COVID-19 vaccine by March, as the reality on the ground does not support the optimism. According to Kwame Sapon Asiedu, although Ghana may receive the vaccine by 2021, it may be only possible in June. And I quote, I know that we'll get vaccines, but I am a realist, and I think that we probably wouldn't get anything trickling in until about second quarter of 2021.
And he moves on to say that
those are cautious use of words.
Let me ask a question.
No, he gave a caveat.
Okay.
That you can only get as much as 20% of your population, and for your vulnerable people. Now listen. The other caveat is that the vaccine is that it doesn't kick in until the end of first quarter of 2021. And so when he heard that government was preparing to bring vaccines into the country, he claimed. Okay, and our friends, some of our friends, let me clarify it, shared this on many of the social media platforms that the government was lying to the people and that there wasn't going to be any vaccine until June.
And when was this publication?
This one was January. Okay, I'm coming. Okay, sorry, December 26th.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So now you realize from this publication, because all of us are in this industry,
yes,
and we are editors actually having a conversation.
Sure.
You realize from this publication and with public statements by the Ghana Health Service and the ministry, all give indication that the first consignment will come in March.
Yes.
And then there were other statements related that also suggested that by June another tranche will come in.
Yes.
None of these statements made reference to COVAX. COVAX is actually a WHO UNICEF-sponsored initiative that is intended to ensure that they give protection to poor countries. And so if you look at WHO's own statement, you can go to their website. It says that it was an initiative they instituted to ensure that the rich countries do not hijack the vaccine, and then there will be a provision for countries that will be identified as such and given the support. And so this is coming in as a totally WHO UNICEF-driven initiative.
It's an aid.
That's how I see it, as an aid. We didn't buy it; came in free of charge. Now, with this background and what obviously I know you know, you can then deal with the issue.
You are definitely right, but you are not getting my drift. What I'm driving at is the fact that when a fellow of CDD, Mr. Kwame Sapon-Siedu, made this very statement,
that projection,
okay, our friends attributed it to the fact that the government was lying and that we weren't going to get any preventive or vaccine by March.
Until June.
Until June. And the propaganda out there was to the effect that government was lying. And so, if for whatever reasons, i.e. what you just mentioned, government has been able to secure such a facility and is in February, and there should be a symbolism, a short ceremony, or something to kickstart the education to the people out there that look here, we have it, and that the president is going to start to indicate that it is safe. In any case, this is not the first time we've gotten vaccines, or we have to take vaccines in this country. My point is that there are many occasions. Look,
that some of these ceremonies have been held.
Look, you remember when President Mahama promised that he was going to build 200 schools, free senior high schools, community day schools,
senior high schools.
A chief in Central Region gave government 200 acres of land. Do you know that government organized
a fanfare
function to go and inspect
the
land? It is not to go and just even look at.
David, you come in. Let him land on this.
It was not to go and even start the program. Okay?
Just the inspection.
A chief in Kaswa said, "Oh, we are ready to give 200 acres of land." President Mahama said, "Okay, then I'll go and inspect the land." He invited the Central Regional Minister was there at the function. There was a fanfare. The chief spoke. The Central Region spoke. I have all these things here. President Mahama spoke.
So the drift is that it is not necessary for anybody to make reference to the fanfare. But I thought that what people really saw in that fanfare was the total disregard to the COVID-19 protocols. That's what I think I've seen going viral on social media about what they saw on television.
Which one? The
gathering at the
arrival
airport.
Of the bus.
Yes.
No. Then you check yesterday's Daily Post.
Okay, so that's with
okay.
the reference
Check
to the
yesterday's Daily Post. My brother and friend.
Is it Michael
Dokosi?
Mike Dokosi?
Yeah, very good friend.
We need to
Mike, I hope yes.
But let David. David has always wanted to respond. You will come again. But David, he raised two issues. I've seen our ceremony equally covered by Al Jazeera, by Sky News, BBC, by France International, by BBC. And somebody was having a chat with me that it may equally have been a well-orchestrated program sponsored by the WHO and others to let other countries buy into it and not necessarily a Ghana event. David, you want to comment?
Eric, I think these are the questions that we all need to be asking. Look, I am not against vaccine. In fact, if I'm very sure that the vaccine coming would help me, of course, we all need the vaccine. There are different other kinds of vaccine that we take. If I'm very sure about its efficacy, I'm very sure that it won't cause any harm to anybody around me, I should be glad to take it. But as a journalist, as a gatekeeper, it is my responsibility to ask the questions. And I'm surprised my brother is putting so much emphasis on the ceremony. My issue, the reason I raise this issue, is about the questions coming up as to the efficacy of it. He was making reference to government, beating people's prediction to the vaccine coming in June and all that. I think that government has done really nothing. As you say, government has done absolutely nothing to bring in this vaccine.
Government has not made itself available as a country ready to receive it.
And WHO will not just give you.
So hard about being willing to take what everybody is rejecting. I mean,
but other countries have taken it.
You see, I don't want to downplay the symbolism of the country receiving this vaccine. I'm not. In fact, I would wish to even encourage people, if I'm clear about this question. But what I'm saying is that let's not overhype government for receiving a donation. I mean, are we not in this country when our president told us that the country is beyond aid? So what should we be organizing? So that's why I don't want to put too much attention to this.
Is that what the president said? That the country was beyond aid?
David is on the floor. David, but he's talking.
I mean, he likes doing it. He's a brother. So the point is, I'm not putting so much emphasis on it. I think that as journalists, we need to ask the questions. Okay. See, I'm not probably asking for myself. We need to ask the question to clear doubts about the vaccine.
Okay, but
once we're able to do that, people can go out there and take the vaccine. Because if you watch the list of people who are to take the vaccine, first among them are the aged. And in other, research, if you do, you realize that countries which have rejected it are rejecting it because they said it is not so efficient to the aged. So that's what I'm supposed to do. Ask the question, get to know what is happening and ask the question. And government, FDA and all that, they are supposed to clear our doubts. That's what they are supposed to do. I'm not supposed to sit down and believe that because somebody has been appointed to FDA or FDA is an institution, whatever they say, we take it hood, line, and sinker. We are supposed to ask questions.
Now, Peter, but he's raising a very important aspect of what we do.
Yes.
The journalism we practice today is becoming more of sycophancy than digging for the issues.
Yes.
And so when you have a few who go the extra mile to be a bit more critical, asking relevant questions for responses, those become the target society or people who may have to be responding to the questions see as enemies, in quotes.
Yes. I agree with you. I mean, I have no qualms with my brother raising questions and trying to find out whether, the vaccine is indeed effective enough to deal with our situation. I mean, we all do it sometimes, but you see, he needs to do more. And I know David, and I know his capabilities. He can even write to FDA, to find out more about our situation and as to whether the vaccine will be enough or will be effective enough to deal with our situation. I don't have a problem with that. And so my only worry is that it is becoming a subculture that some group of people, when they are in government, they seem to trust our institution so much that whatever that institution does is gospel. And then when they are in the opposition, then they try to undermine the same institutions that when they were in government worked with them.
Are you suggesting the other side doesn't do things that suggest that institutions cannot be trusted?
No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, but the reference you have made is generalization, because Dr. Baumia, for example, is commentary about Bank of Ghana, is commentary about Ghana Statistical Service, and these are verifiable facts. And so I am thinking that when people become critical and we want to generalize it by suggesting that they are anti-institutions or they don't trust, I'm
not suggesting that. In fact, you are even taking us far. Okay, in those days when Dr. Baumia was raising critical issues about the Bank of Ghana and the Ghana Statistical Service, what was the response from the other side? You see, you don't have to go there. Now, I am not in the position to doubt the
efficacy of the vaccines,
or even the capability of the capabilities of our FDA and WHO. I'm not in the position, and until I'm convinced that, look here, they made a mistake, or they made a mistake in doing A, B, C, D, I won't come and sit here and attack the same medicine that they have given approval.
Okay.
For it to be
let me make it brief so that we can go to.
Let me say, I'm not doubting their efficiency or their ability to do their work. What is happening is that I'm asking questions that are bothering the minds of many.
Well, you can do more.
Yes, I mean, I want you to join me. We are all, we all have the same work. We are supposed to be gatekeepers and ask questions.
I'm convinced because I've monitored most of their press conferences and they've given enough assurances. In any case, this is not the first time we are going to receive vaccine.
But it's not enough. It's not enough that you are convinced. It is enough that the public comes along with you, that they get to understand the same thing you have understood. So that's what I'm saying, that we need to ask the questions that is lingering in the mind of people. Questions they are asking, we need to help us get answers for it.
Yeah, perfect. But in asking the questions and the answers being given, what else can you do? Until you go behind the scenes to get other documentation from elsewhere, whatever, to challenge whatever they are saying, you cannot sit on the national television and run down the institution. In any case,
I don't think I'll run down the institution.
They have approved a lot of medicines that we go around.
That is unfair. No, I don't think I've run down any institution. I am saying that we are asking questions.
No, the implication.
These people are public servants. They're supposed to give us answers to what is bothering us.
Yes.
So asking those questions cannot be said to be running them down.
Well,
so
I think that's what we are saying. But the point is that answers have been provided. But I'm saying that answers have been provided. So if you are not convinced with the answers, what you do is that you do enough digging and checking. Then you bring the bare facts so that we will interrogate it. Until then, we must not be seen as giving false information.
Do you believe that the institutions, FDA, NCCE, Ghana Health Service, Ghana Medical Association, government as an institution, have given Ghanaians adequate information about the drugs?
Oh, no. But
so obviously that is what David is talking about.
But we are about
let's ask the questions. Let them respond to them. Let's use our medium to serve the interest of the public.
We are about starting. But I'm saying that the fact that at least on Tuesday, the president himself will take the first jab. We will see it on the television. The education and the campaign will start. I'm told they will involve a lot of religious groups and many other, and the media, of course, will be invited to assist in educating the public. In any case, it is not compulsory. Okay? So if you still doubt that the vaccine is not going to be helpful to you, you can choose not to take it. It's your choice.
If you bring this condition in, then what will be the essence? Because if it is not going to be compulsory, and then we leave the caveat that if you don't want it, don't take it, it will be defeating the purpose of the vaccination exercise.
No, but the truth is that it is by choice. That's the truth.
Well, we'll leave the rest. So I have the Daily Dispatch. I'll be sharing with you what is in the WhatsApp newspaper. But Daily Dispatch on its front page today says, non-partisanship on display. NPP Cecilia Dapa is one of the bold leaders Ghana needs. NDC's Okujeto Ablakwa. 2020 parliamentary results, the realization continues, and Jogate did very well for railway sector. And motorcycle accidents contribute to 40% of road accidents and deaths in the country. So that's the Daily Dispatch. And the deputy news editor is here with me, Peter Nkrumah. This week, what has been your big stories?
No, I was going to look at the court, and I've seen some. But I watched our friend Prince Derek J with.
That was last week.
Yes.
Yes, Prince
and Elvis.
Elvis Daku.
Yes, and he made mention of the fact that something happened at Dansoman.
Yes, he made reference to the Coalition Center where some illegal activities happened. The returning officer was reported to the police, and the police has since not done a lot of follow-up.
And he made mention of the fact that there were some ballot boxes that was brought to the Coalition Center, and those ballot boxes were tampered with, and that they raised all manner of things. I was looking at it from the point that, but this thing, is it in court? The issues that he raised. Meanwhile, I know Prince Derek J very well. He's a friend to my boss, so he used to come to our office. I've engaged him very well, and I know he's very experienced, very intelligent. And in fact, I would have wished that he was the NDC even candidate in Ablikuma West. He knows elections. But honestly, what he said, and I've seen that it's been repeated by many other social media commentators, was wrong. We don't count ballot boxes at the Coalition Center. Our election process is so tight. What is counted there is the special voting. And even on that one, there's an arrangement, there's a procedure to how it is done.
Do you know what happened at Takwa in Siayim? I'm making reference to this because we know that the EC regulations are clear. You challenge the results at the polling station, the counts are done. But we also know on record that results from the various constituencies ended up at the coalition centers. And in Takwa, in this instance, there was count 1, count 2, count 3, count 4. I am told the NDC candidate won. Count 5, the NPP candidate won, and the EC declared it. Is it not similar to those suspicions that people bring in some of these ballot boxes, tamper with it, challenge, and at that center something happens?
No, you see, you are not getting what I'm saying is that what happened there, I'm sure there's an arrangement to send it to court, so it will be dealt with. I don't have a problem with that. But what I'm saying is that ballot boxes are not counted at the Coalition Center. In any case, all those issues that he raised, and like what you are saying, is it in court? It is not. Okay? And the court is going to rule based on the available facts given to the judges.
Who sends it to court?
The petitioner is the leader of the party.
No, you see, and he's making a specific reference to an incident to buttress a point that there were irregularities. I was witness to an irregularity, and it involved an attempt to smuggle in a box that was tampered. These are allegations.
But those boxes can never be counted. No. I wasn't surprised the police has not been able to make
whether it is not counted or otherwise. When you tamper with a sealed ballot box, it's an offense.
Yes.
So what he's saying is that because it was tampered with, it raises suspicion. You have reported the matter to the police. We are in February. I have seen the police report.
Yes, you read it.
So my point is that an issue of concern, or we should limit it to the fact that there's a petition case in court, and therefore he has no case.
You are not getting what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, first and foremost, those ballot boxes came from where?
I'm sure one of the polling stations.
And it was supposed to have been counted at the polling center, and then it is recorded on the pin sheet, and each agent or party is given a copy. So normally, what is done? What it is? What they do is that at the coalition center, you bring your pin sheets, copies. Of course, the EC will have a copy, and it is the pin sheet figures that is collected at the collation center, not ballot boxes. Okay? And I'm saying that it was in reference to the fact that there was irregularities and many other things that happened in the elections. Okay? Of course, linked to the court case. Meanwhile, all those irregularities that you talked about is not in court for the court to decide on it. And I'm saying that if you refuse to send some of these things to the court, for the apex court to decide whether indeed the irregularities or whatever that happened in Dansoman, wherever, will have a material effect on the national elections, you have no business to. Of course, I am of the opinion that the EC, and I've given the figures here before, the EC usually recruit a lot of temporary staff. Okay? Because their staff strength is not enough to be at each over 38,000 polling centers. And so they recruit temporary staff. And so those temporary staff, sometimes, some of them misbehave. And sometimes some of them compromise compromise themselves to the extent that even the last elections, in somewhere in the northern region also, some polling executives or officers were sacked and were replaced by the same EC. Okay, so
when they err, who takes the blame?
Of course, ultimate is from the EC boss and the EC headquarters. So I don't have a problem with that. But I'm saying that all those recorded irregularities, would they have a material effect on the national elections? Look,
how do you determine if it will have an effect on the national elections? When you have not compared notes?
Look, in any case, what is NDC's notes? Are you available? Has it been made available to you?
I think it's taking all the time.
Oh, no. It's taking all the time.
Look,
the guy jab you. Make you allow.
He's my vice president.
The issue he's raising, first of all, I thought, it was just issues of this week, but I also watched that part of that video. And the video, I think we need to put it in a proper context. I don't think it has anything to do with the presidential election.
Even though and then he linked it.
Of course, he is from a particular constituency.
What I see in his statement is that whether you like it or not, whether presidential or parliamentary, because he was not specific as to whether that box was presidential or parliamentary,
or from which polling stations,
any concern they had should have been part of the evidence NDC will produce in court.
And again, it will be difficult for the police to even make a headway.
You see, I don't want us to go back into it, but the particular case presented by the NDC in court was in a different format from what you are talking about. It is not the same petition carried by the MPP to the court in 2012. Court processes or procedures are like a football team. Let me put it this way: that you have a team, Chelsea, Arsenal, everybody goes with their formula, and depending on whether they want to, play 4-4-2 or 5-4-2 or whatever. It is a strategy they want to use. And the strategy they are using is not the same strategy as you saw in 2012. So they may not have carried all their pinches to the court. That is a strategy. I don't think that is any relevant to what Prince mentioned. What Prince mentioned was a specific case which has been reported to the police. It says that some ballot boxes were tampered with, seals were broken, and that these were done.
Which ballot boxes? He didn't give a further and better particular.
I'm not even saying that it's a presidential or it's parliamentary. Ballot boxes
from where?
Were Blokuma West, I guess.
Which polling station?
It's not about polling station. If you see a ballot box tampered with, and you can
from one of the polling stations that has been counted and declared and it's been recorded
when you count and you declare, you don't break the seal.
It's not about
you leave it there, and according to the rules, it should be with the EC for at least a year.
But once you have your pin sheet, the first primary record, even in court, will be the pin sheet. Once you have the pin sheet, recorded and signed by the agent, whatever they do to
do you know that it is possible that there can be fake pink sheets that will
a
be
challenge.
produced.
I think you have to restrain my
So when there's a dispute, then you go to the sealed box.
And then a court will have to order. And you can go to court and argue your case that, look, you have the pink sheets declared and signed by each polling stations.
Let's run through this and move on to
it's not being very fair to me. And you need to restrain you sometimes. I'm saying that what is the guy was talking about was that he reported this matter to the police. And the police indicated that they have been inviting the suspects
officers
and the returning officers, and they were not coming. So that is a different issue. I don't think it has anything to do with the petition filed in court by JM, and I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with it. It's purely about Ablekuma West ballot boxes tampered with, and which is a crime that has been reported to the police, and the police are finding difficulties in getting the people
to make it brief, because we have not moved on to what your paper published. But
final point.
Okay, final point.
He mentioned the fact that what has been complained about in Ablekuma West has nothing to do with what has been sent to court. But what has happened there is an irregularity, if it is true. Okay, and when you check the 5 issues to be determined by the Supreme Court, the last one is that whether or not the alleged vote pardon and errors complained of by the petitioner affected the outcome of the presidential election results of 2020. And that is my issue. That indeed, I have their petition here, but I can't find it now. They raised issues of irregularities in court on the issue of overvoting or pardon of vote errors, and asked whether those errors affected the final results. So this one would have been a typical example of an error that happened in Ablekuma West, okay, that they believe could have affected the final election results. In any case, he talked about a very good strategy, that NDC had their strategy. So they decided that they weren't going to take many of the pink sheets, or they weren't going to take any pink sheet to the court, even though they claim they won the elections. We still don't know the kind of how they did their collation, or how they came, or they arrived, the figures that they have. In fact, there's a video where young men, having been assembled at the NDC headquarters, and we are told that they did auditing of the pink sheets, and they were singing and jubilating and praying that God should help them get a favorable ruling from the court, blah, blah, blah. It's available.
Yeah, that song, we are going, God knows who will get there.
Yes.
They sang that song.
But
I've seen
check
that video.
the case in court. Whether the work that the young men did is in...
Why is that a problem?
NDC has won.
No. That video is saying that they did auditing of their pink sheets. Okay?
Okay, so the audited pink sheets and the result they found was what they should have presented in court.
I cannot tell them how they should go about
that. Exactly what you're doing.
What I'm saying is it available to us?
Did you ask
the results? Why not? Justice Apawu even had cause to ask
for it? What happens in the courtroom is different from what you are talking about.
So that is their strategy. You see, then they had their strategy. Now, after presenting their strategy and their case to court, the respondent also had their strategy to say that, look here, okay, after listening to what you have brought to the court, we have nothing more to add. Let the judges decide on the evidence that you have brought to court. They said, hey, why are you not coming to...
Today is Friday. We have entertainment, which will take the last 25 minutes of our show. Let's see what the WhatsApp newspaper has published today. I saw something on the airport, whatever.
Yeah, the airport staff going on strike.
Airport staff going on strike. What are some of your publications today?
There are allegations that there have been some corrupt activities at the airport, masterminded.
So that is Ghana Airport grind to a halt over corruption, mismanagement. Yes. I picked about 2 of your publications. Walk us through your interest in this particular story.
I mean, this was just a statement released late yesterday about their decision to go on strike because they think that there have been some corruption allegations against the management, which is being shelved by the board. And so until those reports are made known to them, because they have the airport staff have had a series of controversies last year, in the latter part of last year, accusing the management of different kinds of mismanagement activities. So I think the presidency came in. They did some kind of put up a committee to investigate and all that. And that is what they are alleging, that there have been very disturbing scandals that has been uncovered by the committee. And this report is not being made known to the public. So they are insisting those reports are made known to the public.
It's quite interesting because it comes at a time when the public is digging further into the Frontier Services Limited and the relationship with the activities involving the COVID-19 test, because what has been leaked to the public has Yao Kwakwa's name there as the person who was fronting for Ghana. I don't know whether you are following.
I'm following it. I mean, that's my story, so I've been following very much. The Frontiers issue is a whole issue on its own. What is interesting is that it is now emerging that the contract, if there was any, was actually between the airport, Ghana Airport and Frontiers. And that is quite curious. I've listened to Afenyo Markins yesterday on Joy FM talking about the ownership of Frontiers and all that, which, I think he doesn't know much about it. We know that Frontiers is a company that is owned fully, the shareholdership is owned fully by Peter's family, which we don't know. It's registered somewhere in the Dominican Republic, somewhere in the Caribbean. And details of that is quite worrying. We've gone past that. So it's not owned by any Ghanaian. I mean, just to correct that, it's not owned by any Ghanaian. There are Ghanaian directors, but it is not owned by Ghanaian. It's fully 100% shareholdership is for the Peters family, which registers a corporate organization registered in Dominica. They are the 100% owners. But the issue is how the airport company get to sign that contract. I mean, my investigation have revealed that this contract did not exist when we were doing all these stories. It was, recently just, drafted and put together for the purposes they wanted to serve. But I'm sure that is one of the allegations against Kwakwa. But you saw all the ministers who appeared before the vetting committee deny having knowledge about the whole thing. So the Frontiers issue would be just one. There are other issues.
Okay. Now, there's another story you did on security. Maybe if my producers will help us, we can see how you captured it. What influenced the security on tenterhooks over Supreme Court confusion prone to final judgment? What really are you trying to achieve?
Well, we've been digging, happenings around town, and this is just one of them, which has to do with the national security. Yesterday, our cameras picked some of top intelligence officers among the NDC at the national security headquarters, and we were digging what exactly must have been going on there. And our information is that this meeting has been going on prior to the election, and it was initiated by the government to ensure election security. So the two main parties were looking at how best they can, work together to ensure that there's peace before, during, and after the election. But after the election, the meeting. This was the first time the meeting came on yesterday, and we've been digging to know what exactly was discussed at the meeting. And our information is that issues were raised around armed robbery, the state of armed robbery in the country, and LGBT. But we dig deeper, and what the NDC, or I know the likes of Asasi Jima were there, Kofi Ato on the NDC side, Kofi Totobi Kwachi, the longer-serving security couple. Mr. Larry Bevlolate was also there, and a host of others. Government side, we had Mr. Kandapa, we had Ambrose Diary, and the director, the coordinator of the National Security Coordinator, and some others. And the issue I think the NDC guys have raised at the meeting was that they asked questions. You know, you have called us here to have a discussion, and we have our chairman in court. We have our Imusa is in court. The parliamentarians are in court for having marched to the EC and all that. And so those were the issues raised by the NDC side. But we can conjecture that we know that next week is election petition decision day on Thursday. So we think
anticipating what they don't know what will happen.
Since the election, we haven't heard anything about it. And
so I have a few minutes left. We'll be also looking at text messages. So I'll give you the opportunity. He has raised two issues.
Yes.
The airport security around the country.
I know David from Enquire days, our friend Raymond Acha, and I know their capabilities when it comes to
investigative journalism and so on.
Since 2004, 2005, that's quite some years, you see. And so I become worried when today he tries to do investigation, and I'm sort of trying to ask questions or try and pinch holes in some of the investigative work that he has done. Because I know he's very capable, very intelligent, sharp guy. But you see, look,
today go eat egg.
You mentioned the fact that there has been several corrupt allegations at the Ghana airport. Did he specify one corrupt allegation? One. He didn't mention one.
I think
you brought. No, I'm coming.
Okay.
He didn't mention even one corruption allegation against Party A or Mr. B or Mr. C. He didn't. He went round, and then you brought in the frontier issue.
Have you seen the statement issued by the KIA workers union?
In fact, this morning, I haven't heard one.
Because the statement they issued made reference to what David talked about, that there were several allegations of corruption against management.
Like what?
I can only read their statement. I cannot go because we are not really digging into. But if you give him,
I think I'm retreating myself because you did mention that you didn't have that time. But if you want to,
you can mention
because even the frontier thing, I have seen documentations. You mentioned the fact that it's not a Ghanaian owned. I have seen Ghanaian directors. Okay, I have seen a letter from the PPA that they give approval because COVID and the circumstances.
But if you're a director at a company, it doesn't make you the owner of the company. His distinction was that company is not or 100% owned by a foreigner, and he mentioned the name. And that those serving on it are directors.
But we must see a trail or records to show that yes, indeed, this company or company A or B actually or indeed belong to Eric Ayanyanyo or the Peters that he mentioned. There's no documentation to that effect.
Look, you just dropped in this issue.
I'm sure.
But if you want, you can give us time.
Maybe next week we can come. Next week I'll tell my producer so that next week we put the two of you here.
We can bring. I'll look for those documents.
Okay, so wrap up so that I can read a few messages.
Oh, you're not being fair.
Bear with me. But you go ahead. Yeah.
Look. So when you have an opportunity and you throw it in there, corruption allegations are this, corruption allegations. I have no problem with people trying to register their displeasure about management or issue, but there's a process, there's a procedure. You cannot just call for strike. If indeed you have enough documentation to prove that the board or somebody else, whatever, you can petition the appropriate agencies for an action to be taken. Today, there's an inconvenience there that it is even affecting flight movement and other things at the airport.
Is it strange that workers will just wake up one day, regardless of what they know, their action?
Yes.
It tells you that there was a process that has been ignored.
But we live in a country that people's interest and people's allegiances to other people
All right.
could move them to also take certain decisions against government, against.
That is why.
That's why they have an interest. That's why they are raising the issue.
Okay, so
that they have no interest. Why they've gone on strike?
David and
Peter. They have an interest.
Okay, so your interest is
David and Peter.
Which one? My interest.
Yeah. The two of you, your names are Christian names, and they are in the Bible.
But you don't have an interest.
David.
My interest. You don't have an interest.
Okay.
Yes. So but mine is.
This one says, "Good morning to the We want President Akufo-Addo to remain to retain Simon Tete Kweku as MCE for Lower Manya." David, I beg you, Abdul Basit. Can I have the floor? Otherwise, contempt. Abdul Basit Zongo Pioneer says, "Thank God it's Friday. I'm ready to take my COVID-19 vaccine. Never panic. His Excellency Nana Dankwa would also be taking his vaccine." And it goes ahead to greet a number of people, including Oseche Mensah Bonsu. This one says, "Please, I've been watching you guys. In case if there will be an announcement of the military forms one day, let us know. We shall." This one says, "Eric, good morning to your lovely listeners. Kindly ask Peter that if the vaccine is very efficient, why is it that the European countries are still having surges? Thank God this is not by force." Let me read two more. They are chasing me. This one says, "Please, my host, I'm a health worker, but for the vaccine, me and my family will not take it." This one says, "I am Dr. Augustine Tewia from Senior Solo Sefi Sam." I think he is greeting somebody. The last but one says, "Good morning, I'm Paul from New Edibuase. I was scandalized when the people sit on national TV to defend evil acts of government of Ghana and Jean Mensa. They will receive their judgment one day." It didn't come with a name. And the last one, the rest I will leave it for Abena before she wraps up. "My heart gets beat, broken, and observing the court proceedings for our future democracy. Will any party have the trust in God if the election seems to be faltered?" The name is A.T. Adongo in Tamale. I couldn't read all. Abena will continue with the rest. Yeah. My guests are Peter Nkuma.
We are done.
Yes.
I was saying that whatever issues that David raised, the window is not closed. In fact, I heard the minority spokesperson on foreign affairs, Samuel Okujetu Ablakwa, that they are going to push for parliamentary inquiry into the issues. So it's not settled.
All right.
The issues will.
Okay. So Peter Nkuma is the deputy editor of the Daily Dispatch newspaper. The way he's eyeing you, he says don't talk. David Tamaklo is the vice president of Primpag and the editor in chief of the WhatsApp newspaper. Abena and JKD are next with entertainment.
Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.